What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So I was having this conversation with my buddies this morning. Capital goes where it is treated best. It will always flow to where it is treated best. Got one buddy on the conversation. He's like, nope, the world belongs to those that can wield the use of force the best. And what he's basically saying is the world that we have today is the way it is and has formed in the way that it has formed because certain individuals have literally won it at the hands of the use of force, meaning they have militarily conquered certain areas and thus they control it. And the systems and processes and institutions that we see in place today only exist because of those military conquests. His point being is that moving forward, that's what's going to happen. He's basically like, nope, Trav, there's only one way, there's only one historical norm, and that is the norm. And we are at that moment in history where we're approaching, at some point now, next year, 10 years, but definitely by then, we're going to see these military actions happen, and that's how all this old system gets washed away and the new system comes about. I reminded him, I said, I contrast Singapore and Detroit, 1960 to 2020. What happened there? And so the point still stands that where capital is treated best is where capital will flow. And what we saw there was capital was treated very poorly in Detroit. Let's define capital. There are 6 pieces of capital to me, in my mindset. You may have another opinion. I'd love to hear those in the comments. You have obviously liquid capital. That's cash. That's anything monetary that you can exchange for goods and services right now. That might be crypto, cash. It could be silver or gold. You could consider those liquid forms of capital. You have physical capital, trucks, tractors, equipment, things like that. You have social capital, your street cred. How big is your network or your audience? Who are your friends? You're the average of your 5 closest buddies. You know, who are those people? So social capital. You have credit capital. How much capital can you obtain just on credit alone? All of these things play a role, because if you've got friends in high places, you might be able to get more capital, whatever that may be. You have an element that ties all of this together that is also a knowledge capital. So you could call it intellectual capital, where you do need that. But then the real thing that ties the whole entire bigger picture together, so you have those 5 facets of capital, is spiritual capital, which is debatable. But without spiritual capital, one of these, it becomes unbalanced. You've got to have 6 spokes to the wheel, or the thing just doesn't work well. One will become more weighted than the other. That spiritual element is more of the center. It's the hub. And you've got your 5 spokes, and if you're missing that, then what occurs is something gets out of whack, and we see this over and over again. You may disagree with that point, that's fine. It took me a while to tie those 5 pieces together, because you could have social capital and you could have credit capital, which means basically you ain't got jack, right? But if you have the mindset and the mentality, possibly intellectual capital, and you can tie that together, and particularly you can have some sort of personal mission statement where you can do a good job of that for something that is mission-based. Something that is mission-based, that is beyond your own self or your own being, well, now it starts to tie together. Now it starts to make sense. We don't just farm to make food to make money. No, we farm to make food, to make money, to increase our net worth, to feed individuals, which has another bigger, larger purpose. You can start to tie these together. I was reminding him that capital will flow to where it is treated best in all 6 of those elements, where it can exist best. And thus, why large corporations leave America all the time. We've seen this. And thus, they leave in their wake a bunch of towns that used to have jobs and good employment and middle-class lifestyles and no longer do. And they have gone to other nations, other developing nations. This is exciting to me moving forward because capital can flow so fast now. I talk about it a lot. Some people don't love it. Some people adore it. It's like crypto. Crypto can move so fast. Capital, monetary energy can move unbelievably fast. There's still a physical world. And this is what I'm most concerned about. We were debating this, which is the assets of today are essentially digital in nature. The true assets that you want. Now, they're not real assets, but they are digital in nature. The ones that you really want at this moment in time, you want like big brand, right? Big audience, totally digital. totally digital, all informational. Big email list, all informational. You have large Bitcoin wallet, totally digital. You could argue almost fake. You could also argue it's backed up by electricity and it represents electricity that has been spent to create it. So you could say like, no, this one Bitcoin represents like $20,000 in actual electrical cost or so many kilowatts of time. You could say like, this represents this much. And then that you could make a further jump and say, well, then the way to truly do this is to bring the cost of electricity to zero. And that puts you into a deflationary world, and that's where crypto is trying to go. If you haven't gone down the crypto rabbit hole, you will eventually find that, where you go, oh, wait a second. The actual answer here is that we bring cost of electricity to zero. And once cost of electricity comes to zero, well, all things are possible. I mean, desalinating water, turning deserts into oases, like everything becomes amazingly possible when the cost of energy literally becomes zero. It's a totally different rabbit hole. Nonetheless, capital will go to where it is treated best. And I think it's something that you should conceptualize and that you should do. You have to abuse it pretty rapidly and often for it to truly leave. But capital does go to where it is treated best. And in my opinion, there are 5 sources of capital, and there is a hub piece to it called spiritual capital that ties those in. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for liking, subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one.